Good morning, church. It's Tuesday of Passion Week. Now, I do have a confession to make. You may be thinking I just jumped out of the shower and ran in here to do devotions, but the truth is, Shannon and I just got done with a gladiator workout in the garage, a virtual gladiator workout. In these days, everything apparently is virtual. The good thing for you is that you're not in my presence because this situation, virtual, is good. So we're at Tuesday of Passion Week. That was just my confession. Now let's move on. Uh, let's just get right into it. So here we are at the Tuesday of Passion Week. And on this day, in three of the four Gospels, uh, they don't record anything um, except Luke, the physician. He documents what happens on this day. So the only record that we have of Jesus' activities is what Luke says in Luke 21:37 through 38. And we're going to read that from the Amplified Bible. And, uh, and another little section in 22, verse 39. And here's what Jesus did typically during the week. In Luke 21, verses 37 and 38. Now, in the daytime, Jesus was teaching in the porches and courts of the temple, but at night, he would go out and stay on the mount called Olivet. And early in the morning, all the people came to him in the temple porches or courts to listen to him. So Jesus had uh, a regular routine. He would wake up early on the Mount of Olives over near Bethany, and he would go into the city to Jerusalem, straight to the temple, and the people would come there and listen to him. They sought him out at the temple. What does that tell us? Well, let's look at Luke 22:39 as well to see the second thing that is recorded on Tuesday of Holy Week. And he, Jesus, came out and went, as was his habit, to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples also followed him. So, really, on Tuesday, there are only two groups that are mentioned as far as Jesus on this day and what he did during the week. He left early in the morning, went to the temple, straight into the temple, and the people gathered there to meet him. They looked for him for teaching, for discipleship, and of course, his disciples, who were pretty much always with him, were looking for him. So, as these are the only activities that are recorded for Tuesday, it tells us something, doesn't it? Well, it tells us that Jesus spent time with his disciples regularly. And we knew that. We see all the other references to the time that he spent with his disciples. But he was teaching at the temple every day during this week. So we know that what we spend time on, what we invest our time in, determines what's valuable to us. When we spend time, you can't get a refund. Once you spend it, it's gone. So you do really invest time in things. And those things that we invest time in are those things that are valuable to us. It tells the world what we value the most, his disciples and the people. Steve brought up a good comment. He said he was teaching at the temple, not because of the building in Luke 21:6, but that's where God's people gathered. That's where the people were. You and I need to do the same thing. It doesn't matter where we meet, where we gather. You go where God's people are. That is the church. Hebrews 10:25 says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting, encouraging one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. And his day, as we know, Jesus' day, the cross, was approaching. So he desired to be with and to exhort, to teach God's people, because that's the most valuable thing. He desired to be with God's people during the day, but it's important to know that at night he spent time with the Father in prayer on the Mount of Olives. So he did essentially two things all week long. He focused on teaching and prayer. He focused on the people, and he focused on his disciples. This week, Holy Week, we remember that it was his usual practice, his standard operating procedure, Doug. It was his habit to be with his disciples for the purpose of teaching and prayer. How might we focus on that example, not just during Holy Week, but all year round? Well, certainly, we love to learn. At some point, we need to be teachers. We need to impart experiences that we've had in our walk with Jesus to those that are coming into the church. So, teaching, learning, always be a student, and prayer, spending that time together. So, this week, you reflect on those things this day. As always, we tell you to be safe. If you have prayer needs, use the app or comments, Facebook, text any members of the church, and it will come back through the app, and we will make sure that we make it a matter of prayer. If there are needs that you have, same thing, use the app. And as always, as we always say, be safe, be smart, and I look forward to seeing you again. God bless you all.